Good morning, and thank you all for joining us here at Great Lakes Black Authors. I am your host, Robin Hill, and okay, I'm just making sure I wasn't having that feedback again. I'm your host, Robin Hill, founder and director of Great Lakes Black Authors. We started in 2018 with a phenomenal conference out of East Cleveland. 2019, we went to Summit County, had a wonderful conference in Akron. And for 2020, we have postponed our conference so that we can respect the COVID restrictions. And so out of that, we've birthed book tastings, which is allowing us to bring you virtual interviews with authors as we discuss current events and relate their work with what's going on in society today. Before we get started, I do want to announce that we have launched a magazine called The Storyteller. You can find it on our website, GLBAexpo.com, and has wonderful interviews, writing tips, author reviews, wonderful stories for people around the region and across the nation. And our conference will be coming up in 2021. Stay tuned for more details about that. Today, I have in virtual studio with me author Melvin Jones, author of the book The Onyx Renaissance. Melvin Jones is a native of Warrensville Heights, a suburb on the east side of Cleveland. After graduating from Gates Mills Hawken, he attended the University of Virginia's College at Wise and the University of Akron. Since giving up his athletic endeavors, he returned to Warrensville Heights to be an educator in the school system. Even though he hung up his cleats and track shoes, he stayed connected to athletics by becoming an official to numerous inter-school scholastics, including being an umpire at the famed Cooperstown Dream Park 12U tournament. So welcome to the show Book Tastings, Melvin. Thank you for joining us.
Robin, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. So before we get into our topic, well, I mean, not topic, but drawing into society of today, tell me about the Onyx Renaissance and the Juice Crew.
It comprised of five guys. Two came from Warrensville Heights. Another one came from Marion, Ohio, who transferred to Warrensville, and two from Cleveland East Side, Mill Park area. And just by happenstance, all five of us went to Gates Mills Hawken summer 1985. Now, Hawken wasn't known for athletics; it was known for academics. And in the 3 years that we were there, we changed only athletically, mostly in a climate where you had Reaganomics, you had the so-called war on drugs, and you had what they had crack epidemic. You just saw that little private school fields now became its own television, in the
You're,
newspaper. Then you
am
have
I in your little in and out? I didn't hear what you said. And that you said the crime and everything. Hawking was what for you all?
it was social and cultural. You're coming from Cleveland and you're coming to a private area, private school, and it's a total culture.
Total culture shock. I am still having some difficulty hearing you. I'm sorry, your connection is very choppy and bad. So I'm not sure if there's a way to move. But I'm gonna continue going forward. So there was 5 young men, including yourself, who were brought into Hawken to play sports. And sports was not generally a big thing at Hawken, which is a private school in
Right.
Cleveland. And so what compelled them to recruit these young men, you all, to be a part of their sports program?
Well, they were looking for minorities academically to come to Hawken. I mean, they were looking for a diverse minorities who had the education gifts, and they weren't really looking for athletics. They were were looking for academics. It so happens
Okay.
5 gentlemen were gifted.
Okay. Um, so I'm just making sure I'm understanding. They were looking for gifted children in the city. They weren't, it wasn't a plan to pull you guys to bump up their athletics program.
It was not, the athletics were not the biggest thing that we concentrated on academics.
Hmm.
Happened that our athletic ability came to the fore.
Okay. Okay. So how did the juice crew then come together?
It was really a fate. I mean, you had, like I said, all five together at one time by chance, and everything fit. We became a bond. We were a bond because coming from background, we didn't know what we were getting into. We all rode the bus an hour away to had kids who trust fund kids. We weren't trust fund kids, and we just started to bond together. And it just happened that starting with football, we started um, becoming as one, and we had the mindset that we weren't going to wait to impact. We wanted to do it then, right? It just happened that way.
Okay. And so what all did you include in this story, the Onyx Renaissance, as far as the stories of these gentlemen, including yourself, the juice crew?
Well, I had to give a background about what's going on at the time, not only in our lives, but in Cleveland area. You had Reaganomics, you had the war on drugs, you had that division that you see now in certain cities, how Warrensville was starting to be more, how certain areas of Cleveland were starting more,
Hmm.
and you saw that change. You saw steady declines because of that redlining and those opportunities that we were given to go to Hawken, or if you were athletically inclined to go to these Catholic schools, try to take advantage of it.
Hmm.
And it had to be mentioned. And it also had to be mentioned how it wasn't planned, it was arranged how we came together,
Okay.
enhanced the dynamic of what we did in those.
I lost your sound there for a second. Um, what kind of cultural shock issues did you all encounter when you coming from this inner city um, situation where there's drugs and there's war on drugs and all this that you're speaking about, and then you guys are being taken to the suburban private school? Was it an easy transition? Was it any racial issues that you all encountered going to the schools?
It was definitely a culture shock. You're going from an area you see cars on television that you think might never see. And you're coming to a school that kids are driving up,
Hmm.
they're driving those cars. You see BMW, Mercedes Benzes. These kids have temporary licenses. Kids who are wearing clothing that you only see on television, or
Right.
um, just a total different lifestyle. And it wasn't as much a racial undertone. We didn't get that. It was a
Hmm.
social economic culture shock compared to what we were. You did
Okay.
have minor influx of minorities who were due, but we weren't coming from. It was a transition for us.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see that the bigger issue coming from Cleveland was the social economic issues. Um, So how did you all manage with that? How did you all adjust to those changes?
Well, what helped was the crew. We were together.
Okay.
We ate together, talked together. We rode the bus. Like I said, with our bus ride allowed us to create that bond. And and because we were from similar, we had similar stories, similar interests, and then just the love of school helped
Hmm.
help that bond because we didn't do much anything separate. One of us, you saw all of us together.
Okay. 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 So now in the book you've broken down um well you wrote about two of the people, or did you write a chapter for each person?
I wrote a chapter for all of them.
Okay.
It's just that what I had to do was do each part where we first interacted. First part was on Benjamin. I
Okay.
had known him the longest because he grew up
Okay.
outside of Warrensville Heights. And then OJ McDuffie came 2 years into our junior high year where he, myself and Owen Benjamin got together. And then once we got to Hawken, we met Mark and William Apple. So that's how that
Okay.
came
Okay.
together. And that's how I wrote.
Oh, okay. Now this book is full of stories with you guys, and chronicling throughout your high school career. How after high school did you all go on to do more athletics, and or did you all stay local and work with the kids back home?
We did a lot of everything together. One of my friends made it to the NFL. He played for the Miami Dolphins. He played 9 years in their Ring of Honor. I did football. I tried to get to a professional league, didn't make it. I had thrown, shot put in discus for some years. Eventually, I caught up with me, so I had to stop that. Marcus played college football, and he has a family as well. And the other two owners, Will Appling, stopped. Um, they stopped athletic together as well as
Hmm.
very much.
Okay. Um, so as we're talking about how you all have gone on and continue to do work somewhere in athletics, some went national, some stayed local, some stopped. But as you're seeing the conversation today about, athletes just shut up and dribble, and you're seeing athletes like LeBron James and others who are taking very strong stances in political issues. How does that reflect on your experiences, and what do you feel as far as them joining this conversation of social issues and politics?
Considering what the time that we're in right now, I think that there was a very much of a veil that in the 80s that was just clouded everything. We're really
Hmm.
starting to see a true United States. And I applaud LeBron, I applaud all these athletes today who were more knowledgeable than what we were back then because of the era that we grew up in.
Hmm.
You have to consider United States history was, even the history books, very watered down, very sanitized,
Hmm.
and you didn't have social media giving you all the knowledge that you have now. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much the history book said, okay, we were brought here on a ship, we were slaves. It didn't
Hmm.
tell anything about true meaning of slavery. Abraham Lincoln did the Emancipation Proclamation, we were freed. March on Washington with Martin Luther King.
Right. Right.
Everybody's equal.
And then Bill
That
Cosby. Then.
you didn't have where the details. You didn't have the 1619 project telling you the details. You didn't have all these things
Mhm.
when you found out. certain things that made you, I mean, you heard stories from your parents, your grandparents,
Mhm.
treated it as folk, treated it as these are just stories that didn't have any validation, especially when you have a government that's like wasn't true, you're making it up, and
Mhm.
excuses of why the inner cities the way they are in comparison to the suburbs.
Mhm.
So it made it difficult for you to grasp that. Now, thankfully, parents been allowed me to be able to further that to investigate things. And a lot of my friends did the same thing. They investigated. So we were conscious, but not as conscious as these men and young women. I applaud them for it. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that still you still have that deaf ear that's making you have LeBron James doing the tremendous work, and you still have people who don't want to hear what he has to say. That's a travesty,
Mhm.
really a tragedy.
Yeah, it is. It
Travesty.
is. Yeah. And it's basically them speaking from their experiences. And that's the part that I think is very numbing, I want to say, because I think we're at the point now where we're not shocked by it, but it's numbing that when a major athlete or celebrity speaks up, a black athlete or black celebrity speaks up about things, there's an assumption that it doesn't apply to them because they're famous and a celebrity. But they've all started somewhere. They were a juice crew somewhere at one point in time when they were kids. And so they still have those experiences today, just like you all did when you went on to Hawken. You went to the private school, but you all were inner city youth who were dealing with the war on drugs and seeing drugs ravage through the community, seeing the violence that is taken in crime, and not because of race, but because of economics, and then placed into an environment where economics was not the stressor, and but it doesn't negate what you all experienced prior to coming there, which is what created the unity that you all had, which I find amazing. Now you did
I
go
appreciate
integrate.
that.
Go ahead.
No, I just said thank you. I think I listened to I read and listen to Michael Eric Dyson. Unfortunately, you have a country. He said it best. Racism is so American. When you protest racism, you protest America.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's very profound when you think
Hmm.
about it. Was at one point in time, Colin Kaepernick was disrespecting the flag and kneeling and disrespecting the military. Then when the football players come back and still stand for the flag, and all they did was get shown unity, people
Hmm.
booing and upset, have these basketball players, Black Lives Matter, not Black Lives Matter, period.
Right.
They just
Right.
want to be all well. And you
Exactly.
upset that we just want equality.
Hmm.
We don't want more than what you have. We just want the same
Yes.
opportunity.
We want
So
the same follow through. Just even the same follow through. You know, you see a cop when it's in a suburban situation. If there's a bad situation, they're still holding their officials accountable. Whereas we don't have that same accountability in the inner cities.
well, it doesn't help when you have those police officers who are not from that community, who don't know that community, who they take
Hmm.
off their badge, go to their house to
Hmm.
deal with or even have a sense of that community. So that's one of the things that I think is disturbing when you have that.
Hmm. Now, going back to you all going to the suburban community for school, were you commuting from the inner city to school, or were you living in the school community?
You know, we took our bus ride our first years to that community. We got to a bus stop where it used to be Chagrin, Lee Chagrin, used to be an
Hmm.
old Baskin-Robbins, we'd catch the bus, and it'd be an hour bus ride. So we would go from our community see a community change gradually on our way to Hawken. We saw
Wow.
that
Every day.
every day,
Now, were you catching a school bus or were
every
you
day.
catching RTA out to school?
Well, as a school, they chartered a school bus for
Okay.
Hawken for us.
Okay.
But
Wow.
even with the school bus, it was still just that gradual change that just blew our mind,
Hmm.
and it was it made that trip just not only did it make you want to grasp, think that you had the opportunity, which is a revelation that
Hmm.
we don't have to live.
Right.
We know our, you gives you that you can grasp that opportunity.
Your mic is going out again. I'm sorry. So you're saying that but it didn't discourage you all. It was actually like a wow, this is what life could be as you're riding from the inner city to Hawken every day. This is what we can achieve. This is what we can work towards.
Absolutely, it gives you that sense that you could obtain that.
Hmm. That's good. That's real good. Because it could have had a different effect of, you know, um, this is all we have. This is all we can have. But you all aspire to more. That is good. So,
And
what is your hope with writing this story? What is your goal for this book, and what is the message you want to convey?
or there's a few messages. That legacy that we established at Hawking been lost, and it
Mm-hmm.
was one of those things where I felt like, and my friends felt like, well, not my brothers, our legacy should be upheld. It should be shown a whole lot differently what it is right now. And I was the one who was the writer, so I took the time to put pen to paper to enhance our legacy. Also, to let those young Black men and women know that you can aspire to whatever you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
because I work with kids every day. There are kids who are not dissimilar from what I grew up. I work in Warrensville, and I still go to I still walk and drive through my neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and I see the changes that through governmental systems has at one point in time just taken away from that city. But I
Mm-hmm.
also see the good in the city that we have to build back up. Grew up in because I grew up with the name is Donald Jolly. He's doing
Mm-hmm.
amazing work in the school,
Okay.
and he's trying to get it back to where it was when we were going to school and living in Warrensville. I appreciate him.
Mm-hmm.
He's he's fighting a daunting task. The mayor's fighting a daunting task when you think about how this system of government is still not looking into cities like Warrensville, like
Mm-hmm.
Shaker Heights, East Cleveland,
Okay.
and they're taking away a lot of the funding that would help everyone, not just certain demographic. Everyone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, um, I'm not sure. Okay, I thought you froze for a minute there. So, you want to continue to give back to the youth. You want to highlight the legacy. So at Hawken, they don't celebrate. There's like no trophy case or nothing up at the school to memorialize what you all did as athletics in athletics.
We do have a trophy case, and I understand that the biggest athletics was swimming back at hockey because we had an
Mm-hmm.
Olympic in for swimming. There were a lot of state championships for swimming, men and women. And yes, we have a trophy case. For example, they had never been to the playoffs for football.
Okay.
The 3 years we were there, 2 out of 3 years we were in the state playoffs. Our senior year, we made the state finals. Right
Okay.
now, as we speak, okay, go to Hawken, look at this, you'll have to fish for that trophy, and it's sitting
Oh.
behind a 1977 golf district trophy, and
Mhm.
our trophy's broken. And
Oh.
I think that's the service to the guys, not just myself and my four brothers, but to every person who's on that team. It's a disservice to them. Should
Mhm.
be on a pedestal on its own, no, but it should
Yeah.
be representing a whole lot more than what
Mhm.
it is.
Yeah.
And like I said, those 3 years we were there, they had never won any type of championship. Out of 3 years, we won a district championship and almost made the state final four.
Mhm.
2 out of 3 years, we made playoffs in football, went to the state finals. Um, Baseball won a district championship.
Mhm.
Won anything before that. Track, we had representatives every year, and our senior year was away from being one of the teams in the state. One of my friend was All American in football. He was All American in track. He was All American in
Mhm.
baseball. I was All American in track. I mean, we brought
Wow.
a notoriety to the school. I mean, we were on
Yeah.
television football when you didn't have everybody on television because of social media and the internet and television. When we had our TV, we had our show, game on WVIZ Channel 25, that was considered like
That was big time.
akin to being
Yeah.
on, that was big time.
Mhm.
And we were one, and not these big schools, it was us.
Wow.
We brought that.
Yeah.
We brought that.
And I believe that as we tell our stories, we find that there's a lot of unsung heroes amongst us. Um, and I know that they do value what you did for them at the time at the school, but it's not. It just doesn't get the platform that it deserves, and that's why you wrote the book, The Onyx Renaissance. You wanted to give this story a platform because it is more than just some boys played ball or football, or it's a story of kids being given an opportunity, given a chance at a better education, because it shows that in the city there are brilliant children there. The quality of education is not always there. And so you were given the chance at a quality education, and then you were able to also thrive in other areas while there. So I think the story is just definitely phenomenal. How can people get a copy of your book?
Right now, my book is Barnes& and Noble,
Okay.
Amazon.com, book and Kindle form. And in the next couple of weeks, hopefully it'll be in audio form.
Okay.
Wait,
Okay. Good. One of these days you're going to have to do a show or something where you all get together and celebrate the book, and everyone gets to see the other faces behind um, the Juice Crew.
would look forward to that. I talk with 3 to 5, well, 4 out of the 5 guys on a regular basis,
Okay.
um, and it's still it's like we haven't left high school.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable to talk to them all the
Oh.
time. My friend, a couple of my guys are in the same boat I am. We have kids who are going to college, and it's just never
Mm.
thought kids in college and
Wow.
how old our kids are and how old we are.
Yeah.
Really
Time
stay on.
flies. Hmm.
It does.
Well, we speaking of time flies, we are out of time. But I do want to encourage everyone to get the book, The Onyx Renaissance, is at Barnes and Noble and on Amazon, and it will be in audiobook form. Um, Please keep us updated if you have any book signings coming up or any events where people can come out and meet you and socially distance and shake your hand or something. But thank you so much for being on the show with me today. And I encourage you all to get this book and get in this discussion about athletics with our inner city children. Thank you all for joining us today on Great Lakes Black Authors Book Tastings, and I hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you again, Rob.